welcome back to the Honor Aspect and to Money in the Bank 2025 out of 10. The annual event is a favourite among fans because two ladder match always produce tons of memorable moments, setting two people up for potential world title shots, and we got that and much more on the show. And we started things off with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And yeah, it was Bliss who was the first competitor to head to the ring for the women's Money in the Bank to kick off the show. Rhea Ripley was the final entrant before the bell. The announcers made a big deal about most of the competitors having no experience in this event, but in fairness, 3 of them have only been on the main roster for a few months. Even though it was every woman for herself, we still saw a standoff between the 3 heels and the 3 babyfaces to get it going. It didn't take long for alliances to fall apart, though. It took several minutes for anyone to successfully stand up a ladder to climb, which helped it feel more competitive once it happened. A very physical match that all 6 women were put through the ringer, and nobody escaped without being part of at least one danger spot. Almost all of them went out without a hitch. The crowd was going, "This is awesome," more than once. We eventually saw 3 corners set up a bridge from corner to corner that resulted in code red from Bliss and Perez and Naomi and Vaquer. After taking down Ripley and Bliss, Naomi climbed the ladder and retrieved the briefcase to win. This is fantastic. For me, probably the best women's Money in the Bank ladder match we've seen, and yeah, really pleased with the result too. Naomi for her heel work, it's so diverse. So yeah, great start to the show, 8 out of 10. We then got Dominic Mysterio versus Octagon Jr. for the IC title, a late addition to the card. Saw this added from Worlds Collide. And yeah, Octagon took control early and hit a springboard moonsault to ground Dom at ringside. Liv Morgan watched as Dom seemed to be over his head right at the gate. Dom managed to use his size advantage to take over, but Luchador kept himself in the fight. Dom eventually hit 619 to get the win in a short but competitive match. And yeah, 6 out of 10. I thought it was good for Octagon to get that sort of spotlight, get Dom on the card as well. So yeah, it worked quite nicely, 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to Lyra versus Becky for the women's IC title, and yeah, the man immediately took control and sent the champ out of the ring. She was dominant and did not let her former friend, but Valkyria eventually began to show signs of life. The match got competitive as it progressed, and Valkyria was able to get more and more offense in, but Big Time Beck seemed to have the upper hand more often than not. The crowd began joining chants as they started getting closer to the finish. Both women were looking strong, but the champ was beginning to put up more of a fight and made the man rethink her energy. One in the show of 2 ladder matches, they managed to make sure they were not overlooked. Lynch was able to get the main hands of Slam, so she resorted to cheating, getting a handful of tights when she had Valkyria down for the pin. Becky played up a heel by making Valkyria raise her hands and strap the title to her, but Lyra hit a German suplex and Nightwing to shut her up. So the feud continues, but I think yeah, the right decision for Lynch to gain the title, add some more prestige to the title. I think Lyra's really benefited from it as well, and yeah, potentially one final match. I wouldn't be amiss to that, but yeah, great stuff. 8 out of 10. We then got the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Rollins was the first man out, Knight was the last man to make his entrance. Scoring on stars, and everyone surrounded Rollins and tossed him out the ring right away. Sikoa tried to play friendly with Andrade. Penta and Knight were quickly taken out. Americano suffered the same fate when Knight dropped a ladder into his face. Much like the women's fight earlier in the night, this immediately turned to a hard-hitting fight with lots of risks being taken by various competitors. The crowd chanted for tables as more ladders started coming into play. It didn't take them long before people started climbing ladders in an attempt to win. All 6 guys ended up on ladders together at one point, but everyone crashed eventually and burned. The match had a lot of high-risk moments, which is expected to be with this speculation, but it didn't make it any less impressive when they pulled off the big spots. Americano made a climb to the floor all the way up 3 ladders to almost win, but Knight took him down and ruined his chances of winning. Rollins eventually called for Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed to come out and help him. JC Mateo and Jacob Fatu showed up to help out Sikoa a few moments later. However, Fatu stopped Sikoa from climbing the ladder and said he hated him before taking his turn out with a super kick followed by a moonsault. The match was overbooked, but in a way that helps about feel more entertaining. For once, the interference actually added to the story instead of feeling like a crutch to keep a feud going. After preventing Knight from winning, Rollins declined and retrieved the briefcase, kind of like a Back to the Future in a way, but I really enjoyed it. I think probably the right winner for now. Maybe a young star could have benefited from it all, but I think given the storyline, it does make sense. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Moving on into the main event, it was John Cena and Logan Paul versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. And yeah, after what felt like way too long for everyone to make their entrance, Rhodes and Cena were the first 2 to lock up. Cena quickly tagged out Paul for the first takedown from Rhodes, which seemed uncharacteristic even for this heel version. The first half of the match was slow and methodical. The crowd seemed to be having a good time, but it felt like competitors were intentionally holding back so they could amp things up later. The heels had the upper hand for most of the match, while Uso took the most damage. Eventually, Cena and Paul started having issues. As they argued, Jey made the hot tag to a fresh Cody. Paul then hit a splash on Cena by accident when Rose avoided the impact, but nobody was able to capitalise. So all 4 men down in the ring at once. Paul hit a moonsault to put Uso through the announce table. He took himself out in the process, leaving Cena and Rose alone in the ring. The ref was distracted when Cena used his title as a weapon. Someone dressed as black attacked Cena and took him out, only to reveal themselves as R-Truth. The crowd went wild as Royal hit his finisher to get the pin and the win. The crowd started off pretty slow, but it picked up in the back half and eventually being better than expected, especially with that cameo at the end. So glad to see Truth back, and yeah, so glad he's going to get the run he deserves. A brilliant ending, and yeah, a great way to end the pay-per-view. A real shock as well, but yeah, great stuff. Overall, Money in the Bank gets a 7 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, it's a really decent show. Really enjoyed the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches, and of course, it was the great main event with R-Truth returning as well. So yeah, on the whole, I thought it was a really strong pay-per-view. The right winners for me as well. So yeah, really enjoyed it and gets a 7 out of 10
Hey guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.